Welcome back to another episode. I am Sticks. This is my co-host and best friend D-Lo, and we are Pardon My Wisdom. We got some good information for you guys today. Got a couple of things that we're revisiting again, but before we get to that, of course, we got to do the YouTube thing. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Like I said before, it's free, don't cost you nothing. So go ahead and support the channel, man. Support the boys doing it from the ground up. But we got some real good information for you today, man. So D-Lo, what we got going on, bro?
Boy. So we're going to talk about Kanye and basically getting canceled is what's going on right now. We're talking about that situation. We're going to talk about 50 Cent and his son talking about $6,700 isn't enough to live on. What the fuck is that
Goofball. Don't worry
about?
about him. He cool.
And then we're going to talk about a subject that have been wanting to talk about for a couple of weeks, but it's just other things have popped up that seemed a little bit more interesting. But we're going to talk about Brett Favre and his deal with the Mississippi funds for the impoverished in Mississippi. So,
Yeah, man. But before we get into the topics, man, how was your week, man? As we always talk about, man, how was your week, bro?
week was good. I mean, no real excitement this week. Always good to spend time with my family when I can, just because I compacted. The week is work. But on the weekends, I try to spend at least a little bit of time with them. But no real excitement. But everything was good, man. I can't complain. How about you?
For sure.
How was the week for you?
Sure. Week was
I know
cool
you
for
had
me,
some
man.
excitement. I seen the excitement you had, but we ain't gonna get into that. But yeah.
But
Yeah.
the excitement that you talk about is I went to my first Seattle Mariners game.
Oh, bet.
This
How was that?
past week, man.
Yeah.
It was pretty dope, man. I mean, they in the playoffs, they ended up losing on the
Mhm.
last second home run, which was
Mhm.
kind of funny to me because I'm not a fan. So it's like I was like, oh shit. But that was kind of fun. Of course, but everything's like you said, it's compatible with work. You know what I'm saying? We got our regular jobs. We doing this during the week, trying to figure everything out. So everything is, of course, kind of busy, but that's how it is from the ground up, man. So we chilling.
Yep.
Sam is cool as usual. Still doing her
Mhm.
thing with the She had 4 games this week. She pretty much killed all that shit too. So she
Okay.
doing her thing. But other than that, man, like I said, man, everything is cool, man. Everything's up, bro. Everything's up.
Bet. Well, let's jump right into it, man.
Let's get it, bro.
Kanye West has been asked by JP Morgan Chase
Mhm.
to remove his funds and find another place to put them before the end of November.
Mhm.
So we know last week Kanye he had a whirlwind of different antics that he went through, starting out with the shirt, the White Lives Matter shirt, and his
Mhm.
fashion show, the Yeezy Season 9, where him and Candace
Mhm.
Owens wore the White Lives Matter shirt, which got a lot of backlash. But he then went on Twitter and tweeted something outrageous. And I'll read the tweet. So he says, "I'm a bit sleepy tonight, but when I wake up, I'm going DEath Con." He meant DEF CON 3 on Jewish people. The funny thing is, I can't be anti-Semitic because Black people are actually Jewish also. You guys have toyed with me and tried to blackball anyone who ever opposes your agenda. So he did that, and in
Mhm.
response, there various companies, JP Morgan Chase being one of them, have dropped him as a customer and no longer want to do business with him. We found out about this because Candace Owen, his partner in crime as of lately, had
Mhm.
tweeted a picture with the statement released by JP Morgan Chase saying that they didn't want to do business with him and his company any longer. And he had until November, I think it was like
21st.
21st, to
Mhm.
remove his funds and find another place to put them.
Yep.
And in that same tweet, or a tweet following Candace Owens' tweet with the statement, she says they gave no real reason as to their decision, but they decided to go a different way.
Facts.
So let's talk about the DEF CON thing and why this is
Right.
important.
Right.
So He said death con, as in
Death,
death. Yeah,
DEATH.
death.
Yes.
But the
Mhm.
actual term is DEF CON. And what DEF CON is on levels of readiness that governments and um, armies prepare for war, nuclear war. So
Right.
the highest level is level 1, and that means nuclear war is imminent or has already begun.
Mhm.
The lowest level is level 5, which means, you're not really expecting anything to happen, but
Right.
you're prepared to.
You're on your P's and
Yeah,
Q's.
you're on your P's and Q's. You're prepared to do something if need be.
Right.
Level 3 is meaning like you're ready to use excessive force at any given time.
Mhm.
We can send out our troops to do what they need to do and get things popping.
Right.
So when Kanye says that, automatically people are like who are in the know of what that means. I actually had to look it up. Like, what exactly does DEF
Mhm.
CON mean? Because you hear the
Yeah.
term all the time, but I don't think we actually know what it means. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, okay, so that's why people are upset. But I say all to say, Sticks, what is with knowing the facts about behind DEF CON, about the
Mhm.
antics that Kanye has done last week, what are your thoughts on JP Morgan Chase no longer wanting to do business with Ye in his businesses?
Right, man. So just like the line said, man. So JP Morgan Chase basically blackballed Kanye, just basically over all this controversy he's got going on. And they also mentioned that it was his increasing connection to the far right.
Okay.
Which we won't, of course, we're not gonna get political on here, but
Yep, yep.
we've talked about it a little bit that he is very, very close with the far right. You know what I'm
Mhm,
saying? But of course, they definitely said that they were gonna continue the transactions that they had up until the 21st, but he has until 5 days before the 21st to process. They're gonna do it up to 5 days to process all transactions. And that by that time he needs to have already found another institution to put his money.
mhm.
Um, he definitely meant DEF CON whenever he said it.
Yep.
Um, because I don't think it's as crazy as Kanye's been going these past couple of weeks. Well, shoot, not even that, but these past probably about this past decade. How long ago did his mom pass away?
It wasn't that long ago, was it? It was like, well, I mean, it wasn't 10 years ago. It was like
Maybe 5. I would say at the most 5,
5,
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
5,
So
5 to
this
7
past
years.
5 or 7 years, he's been wilding out since
Yep.
Mondu's passed. You know what I'm saying? He's been on some bullshit since his mom passed. So
Mhm.
he didn't mean that he was going death con on nobody. I don't think Kanye has it in his heart to kill people.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? So whenever people
He
saw
meant it in
that, they
a
were
my fault, I didn't mean to cut you off, but he meant it
no,
in,
go, he
like,
meant it, yeah.
the Twitter, internet rant type stuff
Right, right,
and
right, right,
what
right,
he's
right.
been doing, that's what he meant it as.
Facts. So, but he definitely was like DEF CON 3, just what Delon was saying, that he's ready to use excessive force to show these big companies that are controlled by the Jewish community that he's ready to, you know, rile some people up, you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying, cause some chaos. So I mean, how do you feel about his statement about all blacks being Semitic? We are Jewish people. How do you feel about that? What
I
do you
mean,
think
I
about that?
know there are circles where us being the original people and the original people of God,
Mhm.
that's a big thing right now, and we are the chosen ones. When I
Mhm.
say we, black people are the chosen ones. So
Right.
I know that's in I know that's being pushed, in a lot of circles right now. Um, Not to get too religious, but I mean, if you read the Bible, you know, or have read the Bible, you do know about Joseph, Israel, Jacob, and
Mhm.
all those. So
Right. I mean, yeah,
I don't know I don't know if that's in the same instance as the actual the people that we call Jewish today, though.
right, 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 right.
It's just a toss up.
Very much so. I mean,
Yeah,
I think he's just saying a lot of things just to rile people up. He's not
yeah,
he's not he doesn't really know. Well, he knows what he's saying. He just has a bad way of portraying what he's trying
yeah,
to get across. A really bad way of doing that.
yeah. If people
But
don't like the messenger, they don't listen to the message.
exactly, exactly. But I mean, you talked about Candace Owen earlier, and she went on her podcast trying to kind of defend what, and she did a real sketchy kind of bad job of defending him.
Mhm.
But she said the same thing that we're saying right now was like, do you really think he meant, like, people are really like up in arms about him saying death con. Like,
Right.
but she was like, she said, if you're an honest person, you ask, what the hell is he talking about? She said the statement that he made inspired questions, but not answers.
Mm-hmm.
So people were trying to give answers about what Kanye was really saying about that tweet that he made. But should you really be asking him what he meant? Like, you should be questioning what he's saying. And just like you said, did he really mean DEFCON 3, which is
Mm-hmm.
a military defense? So I was like, but she was just really like very skittish in her podcast about trying to defend him. I was like, yo, like, I know he your boo and shit now, but shorty, calm down, bro. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
but I would
Really
say this in the same breath. If white supremacists, a known white supremacist, was to say something
Mhm.
of the sort, how would people react to that? If a black person was to say something of the sort about
Mhm.
another prominent group in our country, how would people react to that? So,
People
I mean,
react terribly to it. They would react
regardless,
terribly to it.
right, regardless of the how the message was portrayed, or what the intent behind the message was. Like I
Mhm.
said, we pretty much know he didn't mean it in a literal sense, but
Right.
you can't say stuff like that um, on Twitter or on social media, because especially somebody like Kanye,
Right.
because it riles up people that don't have the intelligence that most most people have, to do things that he is actually saying, he's
Right.
actually saying, but not meaning, so. And that's
Right.
the thing that I want to touch on, is the power of social media.
Mhm.
I always say in Sticks, this, the power of social media is, it gives everybody a voice. It gives you the
It does.
ability to interact with different people that you might not have the ability to interact with in normal circumstances, celebs, athletes, people of that nature. But
Mhm.
in the same breath, social media can be detrimental, because it
Very
gives
much so.
everybody a voice. And I mean, regardless of how we feel and about equality and whatnot, some
Mhm.
people don't need. I won't say they don't need to be heard, but
Mhm.
the certain things that they spew out don't need to be heard.
Very
And
true.
then the wrong person can gain a following that doesn't need to have a following. And just in this situation, or in any other situation similar to this, you have a person say something like that,
Mhm.
and their followers, a small group, take it to heart and they enact on that,
Right.
and then we have
Right.
chaos among
Then you
the.
got chaos because if somebody really believed that Kanye was really gonna go DEFCON on Jewish people, what's stopping uh uh irrational minded Jewish person to not want to defend his religion and go
Yeah.
after Kanye West because he said something like that. Even
Or
though he meant something else,
yep,
you said somebody can take that word death
yep,
very, very literally.
yep.
You know what I'm saying? And it could be a whole situation from that. You know what I'm
Or
saying?
the flip side of that, of what we witnessed in 2000, shoot, what, 2019, 2020.
Which one? Which
You
one?
had small pockets of individuals actually executing
Oh no,
um,
yeah, facts.
black people, and then you had
Yeah.
another group of individuals executing Asians.
Right,
So,
right,
like
right.
this, and it all comes from social media and these different ideas being
Mhm,
passed around. And so this is where I feel like Kanye has to be careful in the stuff that he's spitting out right now. Well, he
mhm.
can't right now because he's been banned from all of it, which sometimes we need that. It's unfortunate that we get censored,
Right.
but sometimes in order to help us reflect on the stuff that we're saying or we're doing,
Mhm.
it ain't always bad that you get censored. It's
It's not.
not, I won't say censored. It's not always bad that you get banned from platforms where you get to
Mhm.
share your ideas with individuals, because
Right.
it allows you to take a step back and
Take
be
a
like,
step back and
wait,
really think about what you really just
yeah,
said. Like, kinda
yeah,
reflect on that
yeah,
because, I mean, 'cause nobody can ever take away our First Amendment, right? First of
right,
all, nobody
right,
can ever take that away from us, but these platforms do have the power to say, "Okay, you know what? What you said was damaging to certain, groups of people or certain, walks of life.
hmm,
So we're gonna have to take that away from you for a second so you don't say nothing else, and maybe that give you some time to say, you know what, I fucked up. You
right,
know what I'm saying? Because I was talking to you earlier about it, and there was a law passed in Texas last year which became a model for other Republican-led states if upheld by the courts, prohibits large online platforms from censoring users or limiting their posts based on political views they express. They also said legal experts also told the Washington Post that such laws would make it much riskier for social media companies such as Facebook, Instagram, Twitter to moderate even blatantly anti-Semitic posts, such as what Ye said.
Right.
So if it's coming to something like that, that's kind of a dangerous thing for these laws to be passed, because like I just said, these platforms should have a way to not censor but control what's being said on their platform. Because not only could these people who are saying these things on the platform be targeted, but the actual platform itself could be deleted, so
Yep.
for lack of a better term, because you're allowing these people to go on here and be racist or anti-Semitic or doing Geppetto crimes and talk about what they want to do. Like, if you have that much freedom, that's I mean, of course it's a free country, freedom of speech, this and the third, but dog, like there
Freedom
has to
ain't
be some kind of freedom ain't free.
Yeah,
What you
freedom ain't
about to say?
always free, man. Yeah, for
Right,
sure.
facts. So you
Yeah.
gotta figure out these companies can't allow things like what Kanye said to be said on the just freely, because it causes hysteria, bro. It
And
causes hysteria.
you said it earlier when you first started speaking just a second ago. Is the companies reserve the right? We don't read them, but when we sign up for these platforms, these social media platforms, we are agreeing to abide by their guidelines.
Their guidelines, their terms
And
of service.
right, and
Yep.
so just because we don't read them, don't mean they don't exist.
Facts.
And
I know I don't read them joints.
yeah, no, I mean nobody does. You know what I mean? So just because we don't read them does not mean they don't exist. And I
You need
think
to read
that
YouTube's though.
oh yeah, well, yeah, we'll
You
get to
do.
that.
Right. But go
But
ahead.
I think Ye's just been on one the last couple. Well, we know he's been on one for quite some time, but it
For
seems
quite
like
some
he's
time.
taken it to another level the last week. And I don't mind that people have differences of opinions than I do.
Right. Right.
You know, I know we had some people mention that, but it's one thing to have a difference of opinion. It's another thing to just be blatantly, I don't wanna say dumb, but just blatantly try to rile people
Outrageous.
up. Yeah, try to
Yeah.
rile people up just because you have the power to do that.
Right. Very true, very true. And it's crazy because since we've been talking about the whole thing about people being quote unquote censored, but the only reason why he even went to Twitter, he ain't been on Twitter for 2 years.
Right,
The only reason why he went to Twitter is because Instagram banned him for what
right.
he said on Instagram and for the whole conversation that he was having with Diddy.
With Diddy. Yeah.
So they banned him for that. Then he goes to Twitter because who owns Twitter? Elon.
Mhm,
Elon and Ye are pretty good friends.
mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So, and Elon welcomed him back.
Yeah.
Welcomed
Well,
him
oh,
back.
well,
Welcome.
let's go back. Wait, because
Go ahead. Go ahead.
we misspoke a lot last week, and I wanna make sure that we clear up a
Okay.
lot of stuff.
Do your thing. Do your
Elon
thing.
does not own Twitter.
Okay. Oh, you're right. You're right. You're
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
You're
yeah,
right.
yeah.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah,
Okay. I got
he
you.
was in the process of purchasing Twitter, and then all of a sudden he's not, or he's like in some dispute about can he back out or not. So he doesn't own Twitter, but he was
Huh.
in the
Okay.
process.
Okay.
He was in the process of trying to own Twitter.
Got you. Okay. So
Yeah,
that's my bad. So
yeah.
when the hell did he back out? I thought he'd already
Man,
bought the
it's
motherfucker.
nah. It's been about a month or so now that he's
Okay.
trying
Well,
to
that's
back
my
out.
bad.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right. But Elon definitely welcomed him back. But like I said, that's the only reason why he even came to Twitter in the first place, because he hasn't been on Twitter for a couple of years.
Right.
So it's crazy. But I'm glad you said something about that whole, I'm saying, like, white supremacy thing, because of course Charlemagne had something to say on the Breakfast Club,
Yep.
and he was just saying that when you side with white supremacy, it's a choice.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people are thinking that with him being so far right,
Mm-hmm.
that he's also, indulging in a lot of different things that he probably shouldn't be indulging for. But Charlemagne also said that this man does not have one free thought of his own, and that he is an agent of chaos.
Mm-hmm.
But he has been on a path of that for a minute. Like, he's been doing a lot of wild stuff
Yep.
for some time. Even like, man, I don't understand what I wish I knew, because he just like you've been saying to me the past couple of weeks, man. He's so contradictory in what he
Contradictory.
does.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he'll go on a rant and be talking shit, but then they'll fall back and say, "Oh shit, my bad." Like, well, this is what I really meant, and then they'll come back and say some more wild shit and be anti-Semitic,
Yep.
and then like, but I don't know, bro. Like,
Yeah. So our boy J. Cole said it best in his song "False Prophets." Is that Kanye? And he was talking about Kanye in that song. Is that he has basically tried to pander and stay afloat in attention for so long, and now he's starting to go. He don't know what he's saying 1 minute to the next, and I think that's where we at with him, full blown.
yeah,
Is he's pandering to both, trying to pander to both sides. I think what he's trying to do is trying to bring us together, but what he's actually doing is dividing us even more,
I
because
agree.
he's spitting out he's he's spitting out like the hot topics for each party or each side,
Right.
and you know, all it's doing is when he says one thing about one group and another thing about the other group is, see, that's what's wrong with him. See, that's what's wrong with y'all, and it's like it's just dividing us even more.
Excuse me.
Bless you, boy.
Yeah, but it really is, man. And we were literally just watching Drink Champs,
Yeah.
and the thing that caught me was he keeps going on this whole rant about the Jewish people and how they own this and how they own that. But
Hmm.
you saw my face when we was watching it, how he acted surprised whenever the Jewish production manager stopped producing his teas after
Right.
he made the DEF CON tweet, and he was surprised like why he did it.
Right. Yeah. He said, "This is what I'm talking about. Y'all have um, suppressed the black voice for so long." I mean, boy, you decided to work with these individuals. I
Yes,
mean, we are not anti-Semitic whatsoever.
right, not at all.
So I know that they own a lot of industries, or I wouldn't even necessarily well, they own whatever. They own a
Mhm,
lot of. They're higher up in a lot of the industries that we thrive in,
mhm,
and that
mhm,
black people thrive in. And
right.
so sometimes it may not seem like you have a choice but to work with them, but just like he tried to say slavery was a choice, you had the choice to work with these people or not. I mean, I'm not saying slavery was a choice. I'm just saying that's what
I'm
he
not saying that
said.
either, but
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
what he said.
that's what
Facts,
he
facts. Yeah.
said. But
Mhm.
he really had the choice of working with these individuals or not.
Because he
So
could have chose anybody. You could have had somebody who was black and Christian. You could have had somebody who
yeah,
was white and Catholic. You could have had
right.
somebody who was African and Muslim. You could have had whoever you wanted to represent you in these companies.
Yeah. So, but
You chose to work with the Jewish man.
right, and then so when you tweet stuff like you tweeted, and you're surprised that they no longer want to publish or print out shirts, yeah, for you, come on, man, you can't be.
Especially knowing that, and he and I guess that's why he tried to make it seem like, black people are Jews. And you know what? It's coming full circle for me now. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, or you can have a opposite opinion.
Mhm.
But in his tweet, he was like, "Yo, I can't be anti-Semitic because blacks are Jews too." But from my understanding, and I could be wrong, and this could be just me being in a box,
Yep.
but to my understanding, the vast majority of Jewish people are Caucasian. Am I tripping?
No, you're not. So their exterior, yes, is Caucasian,
Got you.
but they mostly would. That's a tough. That's a
It's,
tough.
it's something to say. It's
That's a
something to say,
tough.
and
That's
we
a
won't have to go down that
yeah.
road.
That's sensitive.
But
That's a that's a sensitive topic. I mean, yes,
right,
the majority of Jewish individuals, their appearance is of lighter skin.
lighter skin. Right.
So yeah,
Yeah. Now bringing it back full circle, you make a death con tweet about Jewish people, and you expect this, what I would assume, and this is me being in a box,
yeah,
a white man who is Jewish to produce your shirt that says "White Lives Matter" after you talking about you gonna kill off the Jewish community, like, bro,
yeah,
it's so his ideals and his thought process is so contradictory on so much of a regular, frequent basis that
contradictory.
you really can't understand what the fuck Kanye is really like on the side of.
Right,
Like,
right,
do
yeah,
you want all black people to thrive in these companies, or do you want these companies to crumble because they're owned by Jewish people? Do you want the black community to rise up and stop and not be a victim of oppression or all of these statistics that you ramble out, or are you trying to appease the far right and run for president or help somebody else get presidency that you love so much? Like, what are you really trying to do? Like, I don't understand what Kanye's actual like end goal is with all this chaos that he's riling up, bro. I have no idea.
And
And
I
like you
don't
said, he's in the middle. Like, he don't
right.
know where he want to go. Now he's just like fucking. He's dividing everybody. Like, everybody's like, "Fuck you, Kanye." Like,
Yeah.
the fuck.
Yeah, and that's the funny thing is we don't really know what his end goal is. I mean, he's mentioned running for president for so
Mm-hmm.
long and so many times that I think that may be where he's striving to go. Um, but I don't know. I don't even know if he really truly knows what his end goal is other than just be a troll.
But honestly,
And
like whatever if his end goal is actually to become president, then the way he's going about things right now in 2022, before literally 2 years from now, whenever a new election is going about,
mhm,
bro, people gonna bring this stuff up 2 years later. Like, bro, you said this, you did this. Like,
yep,
nobody's gonna back your campaign because you're being so controversial.
yep, yep.
You're on both sides of the fence. You can't whenever you're running for a presidency, you can't be on both sides of the fence. You can't straddle.
Right.
You have to pick a side and tell and come up with policies and procedures and things for that you say the nation is going to get better by, and
Hmm.
have people actually follow those procedures and those policies and those plans that you have. Don't straddle the fence.
Yep.
You can't do that. You have
Yeah.
to try to appeal to everybody, but you on this side sometimes and you on that side sometimes, and nobody's gonna follow you.
Yep. I
You know what
100%
I mean?
agree with that. 100% agree with that. So, what? How do you feel about the brands dropping Ye, and no longer wanting to do business with him because of
So
everything that he's done?
I mean, it's understandable.
Hmm.
I can see why they dropped Ye. Um, I can see why JP dropped, Yeezy LLC. I can, because he's doing so much, bro.
Hmm.
He's doing so much that, and businesses have to protect their brand before they protect that person's personal brand,
Right.
because that business has so much more, in a sense, so much more to lose
They're trying not to get
than
canceled from the cancel
they try not to
culture.
get canceled from the cancel culture.
Hmm.
Exactly, and they can let Kanye go because he's a cog. He's of course they call him the rich man in America, the richest man, black man in American history. But
Yep.
to a bank, he's such a small cog in the wheel of that company that they have. Dropping him is one of 100,000 or 200,000 customers or members that they have in that bank, or one of So like, it doesn't hurt them as much as it hurts Kanye,
Yep. And I'm not.
especially for them to protect their brand. Go ahead. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
No, you good. I'm not defending Kanye's actions or whatsoever, but
Hmm.
where does it stop? Because
True.
obviously him being who he is, his status, the money that he has, the attention that he brings,
Hmm.
it's easy for them to part ways with him for the things that
Right.
he does. But I'm sure that they have customers, and other brands have had customers that they know, that have done things might not be as that it might not go with what their guidelines are, and their rules and responsibilities for using their
Hmm.
products, but they have kept them. So where does it stop? What company, so all I'm saying is if you do it for one, you have to be equal and do it for all. So if one
For
situation
sure.
warrants a person to be released and you no longer want to do business with them,
Hmm.
then another person that does something similar, but maybe not specifically talking about whites or Jews, you have to do
Hmm.
the same thing.
Right. So I mean, it doesn't stop. So like you said, now that these companies have dropped Kanye for what he's done across the board, moving forward for the foreseeable future, they have to do the same thing for everybody else.
And I
Or
don't think it's
that
gonna
get,
happen.
but what that's gonna, if it doesn't happen, what that does is it fuels Kanye even more
Mhm.
to say, look what they did to me, but this person did it and they didn't get canceled, they didn't get blackballed, they didn't get blacklisted. So
Yep.
that gives him more fuel to the fire. So they literally have to
Mhm.
do what you just said. If they don't, then now Kanye got more of a battery in his pack
Yep.
to come
I
out and say whatever the fuck else he want to say.
I honestly don't think it's going to happen, and I even think if Kanye was to, point out the fact that somebody else did something in a similar fashion and they didn't get
Mhm.
canceled by whatever company it is, I don't think people are going to care. It's just right now we are so tired of his antics,
Mhm.
um, that it's almost like he deserves it.
Right.
But it's funny because Charlemagne also has a show. I forget the name of it, but he
I
had
don't remember.
he
Yeah.
had a couple of guests on it. And it's like we are they were saying we are the black community is a protectionist group.
Mhm.
If we have somebody of our own, they make it and they represent the black community. We try to protect them no matter what they do, rather than holding them accountable. And it's like it's time that we hold Kanye accountable for the things that he's doing. And I the last couple of weeks I've mentioned, I think he's a genius. He is a
He
clearly
is 100%.
clearly a genius, but we do need to hold him accountable for all this
100%.
nonsense he's doing because it's getting out of hand right now.
It is. It is getting out of hand, bro. And as much of a genius as Kanye is, I would think, or I would hope, just to give him the benefit of the doubt, I would hope that he would be able to articulate these ideas and views better than what he's doing.
Yeah, for sure.
So I honestly think that he kind of needs to sit down with somebody, therapist, a good friend, somebody to kind of kind of hold him accountable and say, Kanye, like, yo, like, I understand what you're trying to do, but you're going
Mhm.
about it the wrong way. How about you kind of rethink your stance and your approach to these things and kind of figure out how you can better more eloquently relay your messages? Because right now he's not doing a good job of that at all, bro.
Nah, not at all, not at all. So what are your final thoughts on this whole situation with Ye and his issues or challenges that he's had with brands like JP Morgan Chase, Adidas, and Gap?
Um, I don't think this is the end for Kanye. I think he can get those brands back. He just needs to figure out a way to, like I said, more eloquently relay his message of what he's really trying to get across.
Mhm.
Um, but if he keeps going down the route that he is, he's the only brand he's gonna have is his own eventually. You know what I'm saying?
I don't
Because
think he has an issue with that.
I don't think he does either. And I was about to make that point too. I don't think he does either.
Yeah.
But he's just gonna have to. Kanye got to get some help. Kanye
Mm.
got to get some help, man.
Yeah,
Kanye got to
yeah.
get some help. Just like we talked about with John Wall a couple weeks ago, man. Mental health is a serious thing, and if
Mhm.
it's something that he's dealing with, he really needs to figure out who he can talk to help him. Because
Yep.
as of right now, he's looking crazy. Not gonna
Yeah.
lie.
Yeah. And I agree with you wholeheartedly. That was my final thought too, I believe, is something or someone needs to sit down and or try to sit Kanye down and get him to calm down and understand like he's hurting a lot of people, but he's really
Hmm.
ultimately hurting himself and hurting his family because a lot of these rants he goes on, he's talking about he can't see his kids, his
Hmm.
his, his ex-wife, so on and so forth. But all that he's doing now is, you know, when it's on the internet, we said it last week, it lives forever.
Lives forever.
And so his kids are gonna see this. His kids are gonna see this and maybe not want to deal with him because of his ideologies. And like I said, we don't all have to think alike, but we have to get along in order for us as the country that live in this country to function properly. And right now, it's just a lot of turmoil, a lot of tension for nonsense,
Hmm.
and he's feeling that fire right now.
He really is, man. I pray for those kids, man, because with all the stuff that's on the internet for they mama
Oh,
and they daddy,
right, right, right. Yeah,
I
for sure.
pray for them children, bro.
Yeah, yeah,
Pray for them children, bro.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
All right, so 50 Cent and his
50,
son
man.
Marquise go tit for
Marquise.
tat, back and forth on the internet. So
This
last
boy
week,
stupid.
25-year-old Marquise Jackson received backlash for his quote from his Instagram live video about a month back, where he said $6,700 a month in the state of New York City. He said in the state of New York City
Mhm. Mhm.
isn't enough to live off of.
Right.
Many were upset with this because he's still 25, receiving $81,000 a year, and him obviously saying $6,700 a month isn't enough.
Right.
Being a troll that he is, 50 responded with where he posted an Instagram clip from his show Power, where his character Kanan kills his son Sean for betraying him.
Mm-hmm.
This prompted Marquise, Apple doesn't fall far from the tree, to respond
Facts.
with an Instagram post of his own where he was sitting in front of the money that sitting in front of money that spelled out entitled. His
Entitled.
cap,
Yep.
entitled. His caption says, "Since y'all think $6,700 is a lot of money, tell my pops I'll pay him $6,700 for just 24 hours of his time so we can do everything I ever wanted to do with him as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Red, yellow, green, whatever color he liked. That boy is his daddy's son."
100%. You ugly. Your daddy is hey.
So Sticks, man, how we feeling about Marquise's comments on the $6,700
This
isn't enough to live
little
off of?
nigga is a dummy, bro. He's a dummy. I did this story, researching this story, bro, made me so mad, bro. Cause I'm like, $6,700 a month is $81K a year, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Most people do you know what the average annual salary is in New York City?
Probably 45,000.
$67K, which is $5,500 a month.
Mm-hmm.
This man is getting in support, which child support is just that, support.
Yep.
Support, my nigga.
Support.
So you're making in support $1,200 more than what the average New Yorker is making in their actual fucking job.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
So whenever when you put that tweet out that you was entitled, you fucking right, you entitled, my boy. Because that shit is so, bro. And he was on, so the live that he did was with dude Choke No Joke. He owns his own little podcast too. He went on Instagram Live with Choke No Joke.
Respect.
And old boy facts. And he was Choke asked him the question, where was your mom's? He was like, she has to bear the other half of this support. Because if your dad is giving $6,700, where's your mom $6,700 at? If you want to live this lavish lifestyle that you keep talking about you need to live, because he kept going on and on and on about, I'm a rapper's son. Most people ain't privy to that lifestyle. I deserve that lifestyle. I'm like, bro, you don't deserve shit that your dad did.
Right.
First off, especially with you publicly chastising this man at every chance you get. You don't deserve shit. And I'm gonna talk about this a little bit later. Like, he's had plenty of opportunities to, number one, make amends with 50, and number two, pick 50's brain as to how he can also be successful in his own life. And bro, like, what you think, bro? What's your feelings on this, bro? Because I could go on all day, but what you think?
I know you can. I just think it's funny that a 25-year-old is talking about $6,700 a month isn't enough. Now, I know, and if you look at the context of what he actually said, he said $6,700 in New York isn't enough to live off of. I can see some validity in that, but there's plenty of people that live in New York, as you just mentioned, that don't make $6,700 a month and they make do, right?
Facts.
So a 25-year-old man, because that's what he is, a 25-year-old man is saying $6,700 a month isn't enough to live off of. To me, that obviously means that you ain't went out and worked on your own to get it.
Day in his life.
And then two, bro, is $6,700 of free money.
Free untaxed. So, bro, that's net, nigga. So imagine if that shit was gross. If he grossed, bro, if that shit is already taken out, the government takes their cut immediately before that shit's even deposited into her account. So you probably that gross amount is probably like $10,000.
Yeah,
that's 120 grand that you're getting, basically, but you're netting $81,000. $81,000 is a lot of money anywhere. I wouldn't say a lot, but it's manageable anywhere in the nation.
All right, so
anywhere
before this inflation hit, it was said that if you polled 1,000 people and actually asked them how much money it required for them to be happy in most pockets of or corners of the United States,
most
the
people
average
said
was
6 figures, I'm sure.
No.
Oh, okay. The average was what? Go ahead.
The actual average was $75,000. To be happy and feel like you comfortable, $75,000. Now, this is not talking about kids and all that. This is saying on an individual basis, and that's what Marquis, the situation he's in right now, is he's single. He might have a girlfriend, we don't know, or but he definitely doesn't have kids.
According to the Instagram live, he does have a girlfriend.
He does. Okay, so him and his girl, 75,000. He's getting $81,000. If you were to talk about the people poll from a couple years ago before inflation hit, $75,000. He's getting 81. He's good.
He's good, bro. But see, my thing is this. Then if 81K ain't enough to live in New York, nigga,
go get a
move.
job. Yeah.
Number one, go get a job.
Let's go back to that one, because if he moves from New York, he would no longer get that 6,700, because New York.
Well, true shit, because it would change depending on it would change depending on what state he goes to. So we have to go through those.
See, I don't know how child support law works.
Who does?
It doesn't. Hey, I don't want to put your business out there.
But no. But see, the crazy thing is that I no longer live in North Carolina. Neither does Sam's mom.
Yeah,
and my shit stayed the same.
Okay,
so I don't think it matters where you are. It just goes to pertain upon that state that you actually filed the papers in.
Okay, so in this case, I believe New York is one of the only states to where you can still receive child support until 26.
Until 26. Okay, I had no idea that.
Yeah.
I think did he just recently turn 26? He just recently turned 25 recently.
25, I believe.
Okay, so he's gonna be receiving this support for another year, for another 12 months, which is another $81,000 he's fit to get.
Right. Yep. All right. So go ahead, finish your thought, my guy.
But it's like, so my thing was, if it's not enough, 81K is manageable anywhere. And just like you said, you had that poll of 1,000 people. 1,000 people said 75,000 is comfortable. You know what I'm saying? So if you get 81K, if you feel like it's not enough in New York, nigga, move to Delaware, move to New Hampshire, move to North Carolina, move south. Move south somewhere to where it's a little bit more reasonable. The cost of living ain't as high.
Yep.
But just like I said, the average person in New York makes 67K anyway. So you're still making 14,000 more than the average person in your city. So you should be straight. And people are managing in New York. So how can you not manage over 14,000 more than the average person? You're just fucking entitled as fuck. But it's like man. So he asked the question on that same live. He asked the question to Choke No Joke. He was like, if you had nothing, could you rebuild your life with $6,700?
What kind of question was that?
But
because if you have nothing, anything you get is like a blessing.
It's gonna have you to rebuild.
You're gonna make that thing shake. You know what I'm saying? Like 67,000, 6,700
a month,
man,
bro.
Come on, bro.
Come on, man. If I get 6,700 a month, right? Because, bro, 6,700 a month is enough to live anywhere. You can legit rebuild your life from ground zero. Yeah. And somebody say, okay, cool. For the next 18 years, I'm gonna give you 6,700.
Right.
I'm Gucci.
No doubt. I mean, again, if we look at the context of what he was saying, he's saying he wants to live the life,
that lavish lifestyle
that his father did, because in that same interview with Choke No Joke, he says, we're talking about a Forbes lister, talking about his dad. We're talking about a guy that had beef with everybody in the industry, so you can't just live anywhere. Okay, I get that. But most people he had beef with ain't worried about you, bruh.
Facts. I was just about to say that. It's beef that he personally has with everybody. They're not worried about you. You can live wherever the fuck you want to. He needs that solidarity, not you, bro.
Right.
Like, you don't need that. They're not coming. If he does have beef with anybody, they're not coming after Marquise.
Yeah.
They're coming after Curtis, nigga.
Right. Right.
Like
if you look on the other side of the fence, to play as our boy 19 Key say, to play God's advocate. If you look on the other side of the fence, most women would say, okay, yeah, his father lives that life, or I won't say women, most people that have those views, they say his father lives that lifestyle. Why shouldn't he live that lifestyle? I mean, that's not, you can't. So just because you are your father's child doesn't mean you get to do the things that your father does, because as you mentioned, Sticks, he has had an estranged relationship with, he has a strained relationship with his father since he was 11, I think he said.
Like 10
10
years
or
old.
11.
Mm-hmm.
So my father, I don't have a great relationship with my biological
And I didn't
father.
either.
I
Mm-hmm.
don't have any issues with him, but I will never
Right.
publicly
Humiliate him.
humiliate that man in any way. So just because Marquise has had that strained relationship, he's also added fuel to the fire, and that's what I was trying to say last week when I was
Mm-hmm.
struggling to get the words out. Adding fuel to the fire, he goes on these rants on social media about his father, and so I, as a father, I got to give you $6,700 a month, and then you still disrespect me. You think I'm gonna help you out even more? Come on now, you tripping?
And the crazy thing is that 50 has tried to. 50
Reach
has
out to him.
tried
Yeah.
to help this man. Like,
Yep.
so did you hear the story about the shoe store?
Nike. Yeah, the shoe. Yeah, I did. Yep. Go ahead, tell it though.
Bro, so in 50's book, he referenced a time where he was riding down 125th in Harlem, and it was a shoe store that was going out of business. So he stopped and was talking to the guy that owned the shoe store. He was like, "Hey, you know what's going on? Why are you going out of business?" He was like, "Well, I picked the wrong location. I'm not getting enough foot traffic, so I got to relocate." So 50 was like, "Well, so what you gonna do with the shoes? You know what I'm saying? While you try to figure out your next steps." He was like, "Oh no, I think I'm just gonna store them in my basement until I figure out my next step." So 50 being the business-minded man that he is, he immediately thought of Marquise and was like, "Yo, my son loves shoes. This could be an opportunity for him to not only love, to only go into the shoe business or love shoes that he has can afford him to go into the shoe business. And not too many shoe stores start off with free inventory.
Right.
So he calls Marquise and he's like, "Hey, I said, I bought out this shoe store. I got a couple hundred pairs of shoes. You know what I'm saying? You love shoes. How about we start an online sneaker boutique?" And of course, Marquise had all the right things on the phone. 50 gave him all the knowledge and all the plans and dropped everything for him. Had the shoes shipped to Atlanta. Never heard anything else from Marquise again. How do you have a Forbes list father that gifts you with a business? Not only is he giving you $6,700 a month still,
Right.
but also gives you a business to capitalize off that $6,700 to build on top of that $6,700. But then come to find out, he didn't hear from Marquise again. Shoes just sitting in a warehouse in Atlanta. But then his mom calls 50 and was like, "Hey, we think about starting a sneaker boutique. Can you send the money for us to open up this boutique in the mall down here in Atlanta?" And 50 was like, this is just her way of keeping him young, still keeping him young, keeping him a little boy, keeping it from becoming a man, because this is the only man that she has in her life. So why not keep him as young as possible?
Yeah.
So, bro, it's so stupid. It's so dumb, bro. Like, he's just such a little fucked up little bitch ass little kid, bro. He made me so mad researching this fucking story, bro. He did,
Hey.
bro. Did you know at one point he was giving them $25K a month?
Giving who? Oh, yeah, the
Marquise and
mom.
his
Yeah,
mom.
yeah, yeah.
Up
The mom.
until 10 years old, this man was giving Marquise and his mom $25K a month up until 10 years old.
Up until
Yes.
10.
Yes. $25K a month. It
Nah,
said,
that can't be right.
I got it written down right here. It says at one point he was actually getting about $25K a month. And Marquise said that was before his mother got greedy and was on the brink of taking 50 to court. But 50 took himself to court, and he ended up being ordered to pay only the $6,700.
Yeah.
His mom,
Okay.
Deuce, was trying to double the 25 to $50K a month, bro.
Yeah. I mean, you have to. You don't have to, but it would be nice to reward those that came with you or that went along the journey with you to get to where you are today. And so in this instance, I'm referring to 50 Cent's girlfriend who had Marquise at the time. But when they do wild stuff, why should you reward anyone that is basically trying to be a detriment to your character and to who you are and the money that you that you have for them? That you've made and are providing for them.
Bro,
It's crazy.
it's so crazy, bro. And they go back to that story about 50 taking himself to court. The day after, before he left the court, he was ordered to still pay the back child support for those 10 years prior to that court sentence. So he still had to give him and his mom $804,000.
That's crazy.
And because in any state, like anything that you've done before you were court ordered to pay child support is considered gifts.
Yeah.
So that $25,000 a month that he was giving it was considered gifts.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he was still ordered to pay back child support for those 10 years, which is $804,000, and then still was giving him $67,000 up until here recently. So it's like, bro, like the little boy's retarded, bro. The little boy's retarded.
So all right, let's get off of that topic real quick, and I'm gonna ask you a question.
What up?
How do you feel about 50 trolling his kid?
I thought it was out of pure comedy, and I'm gonna talk about another interview that I saw too. But I thought it was just him being funny. It was like, yo, like you wanna publicly humiliate me? I mean, shoot, I'm the troll king. We can go back and forth type thing. I don't think it was. It was definitely to prove a point.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily think it was out of malice, honestly. But what did he say? That he was in the pool, he was in the tub watching the little joint. He turned the TV. I was like, that boy's stupid. What did he say? He was smoking a cigar. So that boy's stupid. That boy dumb. He's stupid. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, how you 25 and can't live off $600-700 a month? Boy, you stupid. And then he goes to the door.
I remember that. Yeah.
And Tony Yayo was like, hey, I mean, I don't, it's kind of hard times, man. I'm just trying to see if you can drop me like a little $600-700. You know what I'm saying? Like, just trolling. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's just, to me, it was funny.
Yeah.
Because you got your son out here all over the internet talking big shit. And then he put out a little, 30-second clip of him trolling. I mean, I think it was all out of fun. I mean, but he also had an interview where he was talking about his son, and the dude asked 50, he was like, do you still love Marquise? He was like, I used to.
Mm-hmm.
So he doesn't even have it in his heart to even, he doesn't even love his son anymore.
Yeah. And so
you know what I'm saying?
The clip that I was talking about, the post that I was talking about is to me a direct reflection of his relationship with Marquise. From the clip I'm referring to is from Power, where he offs his son in the show for betraying him. It's reflective of their relationship, his relationship with Marquise. Like you said, he said, I used to love my son. So he feels like doing all of this, what Marquise has been doing, he's truly starting to portray him. I feel a little bit different than you. I know it's all in fun, and 50 is the king of trolling. He's probably up there with the best of them. But somebody has to be the adult in this situation.
Very true. He stooped down to his level. I agree.
And we just talked about how Marquise's mom is trying to keep him as young as possible. It seemed like 50 trying to keep himself as young as possible too. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I could dig it.
He gotta chill and like try to have some type of relationship with his son to where, well, I'll say try again to have a relationship with his son. Now, I have not been in a situation where my children are old enough to tell me or do anything harmful to me as an individual, or
Right.
defame my name. So I don't know how I would feel in that situation. But from the outside looking in, I think he should try one more time to have some type of relationship with Marquise and smooth it over, because it's obvious to me that Marquise is hurting because he didn't have whatever relationship he thought he was supposed to have with 50. And money aside, his rebuttal to 50's post and to the public about how we feel about him saying $6,700 is enough was like checkmate to me. Because he's like, since y'all think $6,700 a month, tell my dad I'll give him
that
$6,700 for 24 hours to do all the things that I didn't get to do with him as a kid. So
I can dig that. I can dig that because, I mean, to be honest, well, I can't even say that. I was about to try to back him up with a little story about myself, but I can't do that.
Yeah, I mean, all I'm saying
I don't feel that. I don't feel that same sentiment towards my dad, so I really can't say that, because I honestly do think, and now that we're talking about it and going through it, I do think that he's lashing out because he's hurt that he doesn't have that relationship. And he really honestly wants that relationship with his dad. And I think that's probably why he's lashing out. And he's trying to, and he's doing what Candace Owen and Ye did. He's drawing attention to himself to have that platform to speak and say, hey, dad, I really need you. Like
Yep.
I really need this relationship with you. And I think I can agree with that. And of course I was hot. I was heated. I kept looking at stuff. I was like, yo, this boy is so fucking stupid. But like it helps whenever you can sit down and talk to your brother about a
Yep.
situation and say, hey, you know what? I can see it from a different lens. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So, bruh, but I was so mad at Marquise whenever I was researching. I was like, you're the dumbest little fucking pussy ass little entitled little bitch ass boy I have ever seen in my life, dog.
Yeah,
Like,
you hot about this one, boy. I'm
man, I
sorry.
was
I'm sorry
mad
we even
because
talked like this.
I have a 15-year-old girl, man, and I support my little girl. I moved cross country to support mine.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like if Sam was to ever come out her mouth saying that my dad ain't doing what he's supposed to do and he ain't doing this and man, listen. You know what I'm saying? Like
She'll
me
never
and
say
her
that,
gonna have
though.
to have it. She would never.
Yeah, she'll never say that,
That's
though.
my dog. That's my heart.
You've
But
proven that you're willing to do whatever.
and whatever. But me and her would have to have a serious sit down and talk. Like, hey, dog, like where is this coming from? Like, tell me where I'm falling short because obviously I'm not doing something that you need me to do. So where am I falling short? And maybe that's what 50 needs to do with Marquise.
And yeah,
Where did I fall short?
That's exactly what I was gonna say to end that thought for you. But so all that being said, your final thoughts on this whole situation that 50 and Marquise are going through.
My final thoughts would be, like I said, Marquise is using his platforms as a way to reach out to his dad and kind of draw attention. The way he's going about it is kind of stupid, but all he really had to do is honestly just ask. You know what I'm saying? He didn't have to publicly humiliate 50. He didn't have to go out and say all of these things about the child support and this and the third. He didn't have to say that. If he really wanted to get the attention of his dad, all he had to do was ask for it. Because I'm pretty sure 50 would be more than willing to say, all right, son, let's figure this out. You know what I'm saying?
But it's been with that ask too.
Right, facts. But it's been so long that this has been going on and he's been kind of like talking shit about his dad or hasn't been showing that he's really trying to have that relationship or even trying to like figure his own life out. That 50 is probably just like, you know what, bro, like it is what it is. But just to go back to your point, I think 50 needs to be more of an adult and then just say, you know what, son, let's sit down and hash this out and figure out how we can have more of a relationship because that's all Marquise really wants for real.
Yep, 100%. And I agree with you on that wholeheartedly. You said everything I would have said, probably better than what I would have said. As far as the 6,700 statement that he made, feel like while 6,700 isn't what it used to be, it's still 6,700 free money that he's getting. He didn't have to put any type of labor in to get that money or put that type of labor out to get that money. So that's great. So if Marquise feels like that amount of money isn't enough to live on, then he needs to reevaluate some of the things that he's spending his money on because this is not no knock on him, but in those lives that he was doing, he's smoking on a hookah. Is that if you can't afford to live off of 6,700, should you actually have been doing hookah and all that stuff or whatnot?
And then some of them statements that 50 was making, he caught his son in a jewelry store buying diamond chains with the money.
Yeah, so there you go. So obviously,
he also made a statement too. Like he was like, I guess I don't know if it was on like a TV show or something that 50 was doing. He was on the phone with Marquise's mom, and he was talking about how
the shoes.
Some boy, the 50 shoes, and he was like, "Well, you can't have 50." The mom was like, "Well, you can't have 50, but I'll get you 20."
Right. Yeah.
But you don't need that. But in another instance too, if $6,700 ain't enough to supplement what you're trying to do with your life, then you have to put money on top of that. Get you a job, get you a trade. You know what I'm saying? So that way,
that's my final sentence. Is what I was gonna say was just get you a job, man. Pick up you something.
Because then you can have the lifestyle you want. If you're willing to work for the lifestyle you want, that 6,700 can jumpstart you to your lifestyle.
Right.
You know, whatever money that that 6,700 will pay your bills, pay your car note, pay everything that you need, and then the money you make from your own trade or your own job can be the money for your lifestyle, my boy. If that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. But do it. Get up and do it. Don't be a lazy little fucking entitled little prick, punk. It's a damn punk. Anyway, go ahead.
Nah, that's it. That was my final thought. You wrapped up that with a bow and delivered it to whoever it needed to be delivered to.
You know what I'm saying?
All right, so Brett Favre is mixed up in some mess down in Mississippi, where it's looking like he knowingly took money from took money that was intended for the use of children and low income adults, and to use it to build facilities for his alma mater and the University of Southern Mississippi. The largest case of public fraud in Mississippi history has seen $77 million averted from.
77 milli.
That's a lot of money, man.
That's a lot
$77
of money,
million
bro.
averted from Mississippi's low-income communities into the pockets of the rich and powerful of the state, according to state audits. In
Yes, sir.
I said 19. In 2019, Favre started to exchange messages with the former governor, Phil Bryant, about needing assistance to help build a volleyball and indoor football facilities, practice football facilities for the University of Southern Mississippi. According to an article that NPR released, the governor informed Favre that he can help, but money from the children and low-income adults is tightly controlled, and improper use could result in violations of federal law. The article continues to say that the governor and Favre's early texts discuss raising private money and not using public money. But this is where it all gets a little bit messy and hairy.
For sure.
Leaders of a nonprofit organization called the Mississippi Community Education Center met with the former Department of Human Services, John Davis, about money to fund the volleyball facility, which Davis committed $4 million to. The nonprofit then paid Brett Favre $1.1 million for speaking engagements that he never did to help pay for the volleyball facility. Favre has since returned the money, but not all of it. Favre has also, another instance, Favre has also had a pharmaceutical company in his house that he is invested in come in and lobby for state funds to go into their company. Favre maintains that he is being smeared in all of this, and he didn't know welfare money was being misused. Sticks, how we feeling about this Brett Favre situation?
Man, so this Brett Favre situation is crazy, bro. So you are a Hall of Famer. You have accumulated almost $200 million across your NFL career. And not to mention the money that you get from endorsements and sponsorships from Copperfit and Wrangler and all of these other things that you do. But you stealing money from the poor, bro. You stealing money from literally the poorest state in the country. You stealing money from Mississippi, where almost 1 out of every 5 people are poor and living in poverty. You know what I'm saying? Like, and the money that we're spending was for, like you said, the states were poverty-stricken residents. So, and you did mention the organization that was helping him, which was ran by a young lady named Nancy New and her son Zachary New. And you mentioned they stole $70 million from the government's anti-poverty fund. Bro, and then you also mentioned the thing about the $1.1 million for the speaking engagements. He paid the $1.1 million back, but he didn't pay the interest on the money, which is said to be $228,000.
Yep.
So Brett Favre he's trying to say that he didn't know where the funds were coming from, but if you're getting that much money, you're not even gonna raise an eyebrow or a question as to, oh, how y'all paying me?
Yep.
Like, where's this money coming from? Oh, y'all giving me money from the poor people? Like, oh, bro, hold on. Like, I can't do that.
Yeah.
You didn't have that much restraint in your heart, or that much, you know what I'm saying, empathy in your heart for these people in Mississippi, that you couldn't say, you know what, don't give me that bread. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're gonna help me, it can't come from that fund at least. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I'm not advocating for him. Yeah. Oh, hella love to Mississippi.
He's loved in Mississippi. You know, he's Mississippi's son, and for this to come out is, we say it all the time, is damning for sure.
Damning.
Because you want to believe that Brett Favre, who up until this point has had a pretty clean, not really, I take that back.
No,
but
he has not.
It's been fairly decent of a reputation, to some regard. But for this to come out is like, man, I don't know, because it's too many connections that he has to people that, if he wants to play the I didn't know card, he has too many connections to individuals that have already pled guilty to
True.
wrongdoing with the money. And so,
True.
the saying always goes, "You are who you hang around." If he's
Hmm.
gonna say he did not know this was going on, he needs to pick new friends, because
Got
with
to.
that, all that being said, is all fingers are pointing to, bro. You knew what was going on. Don't try to play
100%.
that. You know what I
Because
mean?
like I said, I got the text messages. So there was one text message that was really, really damning, that he was talking to Miss Nancy New.
Hmm.
And he said, if you were to pay me, is there any way the media can find out where this money came from and how much?
Yep.
And Miss New responds back, no, we never have had that information publicized. I understand you being uneasy about that though. Let's see what happens on Monday. This is on August 3rd, 2017. So this is 5 years ago.
Hmm.
And so let's see what happens on Monday with the conversation with some of the folks at Southern. Maybe it will click with them, hopefully. And he says, okay, thanks.
Yep.
And then she actually says that, wow, just got off the phone with Phil Bryant, who is the governor
The governor.
of
Yep.
Mississippi. He's on board with us. We will get this done for you.
Hmm.
So she goes back and forth with Phil Bryant and he said, just left Brett Favre. This is what Phil Bryant is saying. Can we help him with this project? We should meet soon to see how I can make sure we keep your projects on course.
Hmm.
And then they set up a meeting to meet on, at 4 p.m. on Thursday. And the governor of Mississippi is helping him with this money from the poverty stricken funds, bro. And he's a bad guy. And you know who Jeff Perlman is?
No.
Jeff Perlman wrote a book about Brett Favre, but he also wrote the book about the Lakers, where winning the documentary Winning Time came from on Hulu.
Hmm.
He wrote
Okay.
that book too. But in the book that he wrote about, that Jeff Perlman wrote about Brett Favre, it says his grossness, his addictions, and his treatment of women, Brett Favre is a bad guy who doesn't deserve the icon treatment or warm stories of gridiron glory.
Mm,
So this dude's got a past.
mm,
Not even from back when he was in playing football. Of course, everything on the field, the man was great.
mhm.
The man was a great football player. The man was a great quarterback. The man was a winner. The man was a Iron Man on that football field.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to the man off the field, a lot of people have accounts of this man being a gross human being. So this doesn't shock me. If what these people are saying about Brett Favre off the field, this doesn't shock me that he's actually stealing money from poor people.
Yeah, I mean, it's the if you put it that way, and if you think about it how you just said it, as far as the grossness, his obsession with women and his addictions, yeah, it's
Yeah, man.
the thing that I'm starting to see as we talk about these various situations
Mm-hmm.
of different kinds, whether it's sports or entertainment, is that these individuals, most of them, not all of them, but most of
Right.
them, it's all about them. They have
Right.
to they have to do whatever they need to do to. I won't say attention is the main thing, but is to have most of the focus to be on them. And I say all that to say that it's too many arrows pointing back at Brett Favre and his
Mm-hmm.
connection with this misuse of funds from Mississippi. Again, you talk about the connection with him and the governor and their text messages.
Mm-hmm.
You talk about the
Mm-hmm.
text messages between him and the leaders of that nonprofit organization. You talk
Mm-hmm.
about the company that he's invested in receiving
Mm-hmm.
money from the funds from Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
He's involved with all of these people, and it
He
just
is. And
it
not
goes
to
back to,
mention, his daughter played for the Southern Miss volleyball team, where
right.
he used the $5 million to build the volleyball stadium.
Well,
A
not only that,
volleyball
he was
stadium, bro.
not only that, Southern Miss was the college that he went to.
Right.
So we talk
Agreed.
about the focus being on him is probably, I was watching something on ESPN where his hometown is called, I think they say Kill, but it's spelled Kiln. So it's like
Okay.
killing. Uh,
Kiln. Yeah.
Kiln,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, Kiln.
Mm-hmm.
It's a population of 2,500. The focus of that town is him.
It's
The
Brett Favre.
stadium the stadium is named after him. He
Mm-hmm.
has, a statue outside of the high school football stadium. His jerseys are hanging up everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
He is
sure
the
at
golden
Southern Miss
child.
Yeah. I'm sure at Southern Miss he has some type of enshrinement, but nothing says nothing says you have the power and fame than seeing your name on a building and
Agreed.
your hard work being put. You see your hard work come to fruition um,
Agreed.
on like with all of the buildings of these different colleges, on
Hmm.
college campuses. So to me, all of that says I'm doing this. Yeah, my daughter plays volleyball. I go watch her play, but I want her to play in something that I built on a college that I went to and I made my name from. So,
But my thing is this though. We talked about in our conversations about Dion, right? And we
hmm
talked about how funds from other sports go to help the other organizations across the. We both know that volleyball ain't no cash sport.
right.
So you build a building on that you build a stadium that only does volleyball.
hmm
So there's no way that this university or this organization can make this money back because volleyball isn't a cash sport.
Right.
So how do you repay this organization that gave you this money? Or how do you repay Brett Favre, which he probably wouldn't ask for if he paid for it out of his own pocket, but how do you repay Brett Favre for building this stadium on your campus? You
It was
can't
no intention
because,
to.
huh?
It was no intention to.
There wasn't. But at the same time, you're getting this money from this organization. Why build a stadium for a sport that doesn't bring in any money?
hmm
Because, but like you said, there was no there was no incentive to pay them back. There was no they didn't have any, what's the word I'm looking for? Um any they didn't want to pay it back, for lack of a
Yeah.
better term.
Yeah.
So, but it's like, but for just for volleyball though, like who the fuck in Mississippi is going to watch volleyball, bro?
I don't
I'll
know.
watch it now, because my daughter play,
Your daughter
but I
plays.
ain't
Yeah.
finna take $5 million to build her no stadium.
Right.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But I mean, it's just so weird, bro. To me, like but and the crazier thing too is that TANF has very strict temporary assistance for needy families. They have
Yep.
very strict rules, and they prohibit that the use of their funds are being used for constructing brick and mortar buildings.
hmm
So even with this money being used, they were supposed to use it to build that building anyway.
Yep.
You
I
know what I'm
think
saying?
I think it's truly unfortunate for those individuals that do reside in Mississippi that are struggling or live in those impoverished communities that were trying to or that needed those funds.
Hmm.
Again, as you mentioned earlier, Mississippi is one of the poorest states in our country. It has one of the highest unemployment rates in our country, specifically for blacks in that state, which again is has one of the highest populations of blacks per state as well. And
Hmm.
then to add on top of that, they are currently dealing with a water crisis um,
Yep.
in their
Yep.
capital. So
Jackson. Yep.
yeah, so you add on to the fact that now $77 million is misplaced, which to a country isn't a lot, but to a state, $77 million is a lot. You could do a lot of money with $77 million.
Especially if
So
you're stealing from the poor, from the fund. The organization is supposed to help the poor people. You're
yep.
stealing from the fund for the poverty-stricken communities.
Yep, yep. So it's truly unfortunate that this situation has happened and has been done by the hands of somebody that reputation or public image sullied or not, the people of that state cherished Brett Favre,
Hmm.
and for this to happen by his hands or
Hmm.
allegedly at this point is crazy.
It is crazy, bro. My question to you is, what you think is worse, Brett Favre or BLM?
See, mm, that's a good question, and it's tough though because both instances is a matter. Well, no.
Nope,
I
no,
think
nope.
I
I
think the Brett Favre one may be worse than the
I think so too.
BLM,
I
just
think so too.
because if all facts that are out right now, if all not facts, if all evidence that's
Allegation.
out right now, evidence and allegations that are out right now are true. He knew he was stealing from the poor and giving to the rich. He was doing
Robbing
the
people
opposite of
to pay
Robin
Paul.
Hood. Yeah, he was
Mhm.
doing the opposite of Robin Hood. He was stealing from the
Mhm.
poor, giving it to the rich.
Mhm.
And whereas the BLM were taking advantage of situations of Black death and Black suffering, and people unknowingly giving their money to an organization
Mhm.
that they thought was, you know, serving a purpose. We said it the whole
We
time.
said it last week, yeah.
The organization is serving a purpose. They just had
Mhm.
bad actors in that organization.
Mhm.
So I
100%.
definitely I think the Brett Favre situation is probably worse.
Yeah, I think it is too. I think it is too because he went so far as to and just going on with his pharmaceutical company, he was making it seem like um they were creating a concussion drug,
Mhm.
he was trying to get the government of Mississippi to help fund it, but and he also called the volleyball stadium a wellness center. Like, he had to call it a wellness center so that
Mhm.
way it would pass with TANF. So
Mm.
like you're doing all of these things intentionally, bro.
Yeah.
Like all of these, and just like you said earlier, everything points back to him.
Yeah.
Everything points back to him, and like he's doing something for him. He doing all of these things for himself, and
Yeah.
it's like it's so stupid, bro. Shannon Sharp said you have to be really low to take from the poorest of the poor, and you've been a sleazeball and shady for some time now. I was like, yo, Shannon
Yeah.
was going crazy
And
on Brett.
Unc don't care, man.
Oh,
He gonna
Unc don't
tell it
care,
how it
dog.
is.
Unc
Um,
don't care. Shay
I
don't care, boy.
no, not in the slightest. I think the key thing to look at right now is he has not been criminally charged
Hmm.
on anything.
He hasn't
I
yet. Yep.
expect it to happen at some point in time. I do know that, you know, if everything continues to come out how it has been coming out and him hiring lawyers,
Eric
yeah,
Hirschman, who was Donald Trump's lawyer. Yep.
if he's hiring those type of lawyers, to me that's telling. And
Hmm.
him putting out the statements that he's put out in the last couple of days about this is a smear campaign on his name.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he it's it sticks if I'm hanging with, the wrong people.
Hmm.
And well, we don't know that they're the wrong people, but I'm hanging out with certain individuals, and a fight breaks out. Everybody's pointing their fingers at me, or all evidence points that I'm the one that started the fight. This
Hmm.
might be a bad analogy, but I'm gonna run with it.
Yeah.
All evidence is pointing that I'm the one that started the fight. There's text messages and other evidence where I'm talking about starting this fight.
Hmm.
I'm the one that started that fight.
Nah, facts. Yeah,
I'm
it's
not.
too much. It's too many fingers and too much evidence pointing at you that you was the one that
Yeah.
stole off on the nigga.
Yeah,
So
so,
yeah,
Brett Favre, man, you can say what you wanna say. Um, I'm not gonna go so far as to say you're guilty yet, but, um, it's just too much pointing back at you, man. You're the main guy.
I
And
ain't gonna
why
lie
couldn't
to you, boy. That nigga guilty.
you know why could he not use his name, his status, his connections to raise that money? If not in
Why
Mississippi.
couldn't he use his own fucking money?
Well, so one of the strategies of rich people is to use other people's money to give
Agreed,
them money.
agreed,
So
agreed. But
it's
you still from just like you said, it's the opposite of Robin Hood. Robin
the
Hood stole from
opposite.
Peter to pay Paul. This
Yeah,
nigga stealing from Paul to pay Peter.
I guess. Either way, he wrong.
Either way, he wrong. Either
Either
way, he
way,
wrong.
he.
But there were some other names that they threw out there too, like Ted DiBiase, who's an ex wrestler, and
Mhm,
Marcus Dupree, who was one of the best running backs to ever come through Oklahoma.
mhm.
They were also receiving money from Mississippi too, but not to the magnitude of what Brett Favre was taking, bro. Like
Mhm.
he was. It seemed like he was literally extorting that organization or the
Yep.
government to give him this money for real, for real. From what all the evidence that shows, it's like he was literally extorting the state of
Yep.
Mississippi for real.
Yep.
Yep.
So, what's your final thought? Spit them out.
My final thoughts are he he knew what he was doing. And just like you
Mhm.
said, he for him to hire such a high profile lawyer to get him out of the situation is very telling. And also, I will also go so far as to say it's very damning too, because although he's not been indicted or he's not none of these accusations have been implicated upon him yet, but there's too much pointing to you and too much evidence, especially the text messages. That one text message, hey, would the media find out about this? Like, you know what I'm saying? We got to keep this low. You feel me? Like, if something like that lets me know that you knew what you were doing.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? So I personally think that he got some long time coming ahead of him. You know what I'm saying? That he might have some time to do behind bars, me personally. But, I mean, he knew what he was doing for real. What you think?
Well, before I give my thoughts, I think the thing that's going to be beneficial for him is that the state of Mississippi is not trying to press criminal charges. They're just trying to recoup the money.
Okay, well, that's dope. That's dope. I didn't see that part.
But because of how the money is tightly regulated, there may be some criminal charges to come down the pipe. But as of right now, they're not trying to press any criminal charges. They're just trying to recoup the money.
Especially with all the loopholes that he went through with calling it a wellness center.
Exactly.
And, you know, trying to, you know, they're not supposed to be doing the brick and mortar construction. So I see what you mean. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. My thing is, I mean, listening to your evidence, telling my evidence, I was going to say it's hard to tell if he's the major player in this, but I think we all both know that he is pretty much the major player in this. What I'll say is, as what I've been saying the whole time, is he's just connected to too many of the individuals that have already pled guilty to wrongdoings with and misusing the money from Mississippi. So, you know, if that is the case, and he wants to continue to say that he didn't know the money was being misused, either he truly does know that the money is being used, or he just needs to get new friends and try to fight tooth and nail for his name. But I don't think it's going to happen. I think he is dead in the water right now.
I think he is too, man, because Nancy New, she's already pled guilty. The son pled guilty. The governor pled guilty. And you got text messages with two of those people.
Yeah, not the governor.
Okay.
No, it was the director of human services pled guilty.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
The one that actually committed the money.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
those three people pled guilty, and you got text messages with Nancy New saying that we got to keep this under wraps.
Yep.
You know
and
what
the
I'm saying?
governor.
So, and the governor saying, "Hey, we're gonna do it. We're gonna help him. We're gonna give him this bread." So it's too much. It's too much bad evidence against him, man. So he might be wrapped for my boy.
Yeah, we'll
he ain't
see.
my boy, but you know.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. For sure.
All right, man. So that was a wrap for episode 7. Part of my wisdom.
7, my boy.
Part of my wisdom podcast. If you like this episode, or you like some of the things that we mentioned in this episode for the YouTube, drop a comment and drop a comment. Even if you don't agree with everything we said, drop a comment, drop a like. Let us know what you thought. We try to interact with as many as we can, and we love the interaction. So feel free to drop those likes or comments, and then also subscribe. If you're not subscribed to our channel already, or any of the platforms that we're streaming on, subscribe to those. But with that being said, Sticks, man, it's always a pleasure having these conversations with you, talking about the different topics that we talk about. You know, even if we get a little too political sometimes when we don't really mean to.
Right,
it's always a pleasure.
Always
dog.
a good time, man. Always a good time.
Man. And with that being said, we'll catch y'all next time.
Peace.